Hi, I'm Palash. In this tutorial, I'll walk through a touch designer system I built to explore synthetic ecology. It's interactive, feedback driven, which are creatures that feel somehow between insects, cells, and environments. So nothing is animated manually, so we kind of explore behavior that emerges from feedback, noise, and like subtle interaction. So let's see what the project kind of looks like. So I explored interface, which is an interactive archive where you can interact with these creatures, which are ever throbbing, ever moving, and it has the index of the family it belongs, what the purpose is. So, and you kind of can like shift through the archive to look at the different synthetic creatures. So we'll just recreate one small part of it. So let's get started. So this is what the network for one of the creatures look like. You have the media pipe linked to it. So we are going to recreate this from scratch. So yeah, looks pretty cool with against the white. Really love how the colors kind of like move about and stuff. So let's start from scratch. So I begin with a noise. And I like to think of noise as an environment rather than the subject. On its own, noise is just a texture, but once we threshold it, patterns start to appear. So we'll just like play around with the harmonic gain, the speed. We can play around with this. There's no hard and fast rule with these, and we'll just introduce a little movement. We'll go with ABS time dot seconds. It's a little too fast, so I'll just make it a little slow. We can multiply it with 0.5. Yeah. So from the noise, we will introduce a threshold. So we have like much more definitive like shape coming out of the noise. And from here, we will try to use a mirror to kind of define the basic geometry of these creatures. So mirroring helps introduce symmetry, which is something we often associate with biological forms. So I'll just move around, play around with it to see if something comes up. Oh, so I think, yeah, something around the 90 mirrored along the vertical axis looks interesting. So we'll just go with this. So now we will go with a base shape within which these synthetic creatures are contained. I'll just fix the resolution and stuff. So we'll use a transform to kind of play around, fix the size and scale of it. You can also like middle click button to kind of then slide up and down to kind of proportionately make the scale of it bigger or smaller. Then we'll just use a composite to kind of put two of these together within the rectangle. That kind of looks fun. We already have something emerging out of the noise and the shape, and it'll be on multiply, the blending mode. I think let's see this in this view. I think we need to introduce a little more softness so that it doesn't have the hard edges. This will really help us as we build the system further. So from this, I am going to start with the cache. So this is where it starts to behave like a system, because the shape is now able to like remember its past state. and we are going to use a cache select. So this will like remember the previous frames that the cache is holding. So we will play with the cache index to see how much of these frames we want ahead or behind. So we could stick close to about 17 frames. Yeah. So our main cache is holding around 32 frames. So, and then we want to composite both of these together with a difference. We want to make sure the bulk of the movement is coming through between both of these. So yeah, so we'll use a difference on the composite, and from here we'll just put a null at the end to kind of see what's going on. So this will just help us as we kind of build out this throbbing creature. Yeah. So from the comp, let's go with a level. We will just bump up the brightness and the contrast a little bit. So yeah, let's make the contrast a little slightly a little more, and we'll just like bump up the brightness completely. You could play around with these parameters to see what work suits best your project. There's no hard and fast rule with these. Now we're gonna go with like a chroma key. This is to make sure we separate the black background from the complete stillness with the shape that's moving. And we'll just shift up the value a bit. It just removes the background and retains the shifting frames of the creature. We'll play with the soft high value as well. Yeah. So let's go ahead with another threshold. So it'll work as a pass for a more watery look. And we don't want the white of the background kind of coming in, and we'll just like soften it like a little bit, make the threshold a little higher. Let's see what this does. Okay, that should be good. So we'll put in like a blur here now to kind of really soften the whole image, and we do not want to go overboard with a strong filter size, because blur is computationally very dense effect, and if it's a weaker computer, you do not want to have a high filter size. And now we'll drop the feedback edge from the palette. We will connect it to our blur and to the null. So it creates a nice feedback trail expanding effect. So this feedback edge is the heart of our creature. So each frame is influenced by the frame before. Uh, I'm keeping the feedback strength a little low. We'll try to keep our values slightly smaller than the default ones. Uh, like too much, it kind of becomes like it goes overboard. Uh, yeah, you could like totally play around with these different values to kind of like get the desired effect you want for your synthetic creature. So the actual look of this effect doesn't matter as much as the textures and sort of like surrounding shape of it. It kind of gives like a nice lively feeling to it. And we will add the RGB delay as well after the feedback edge, and it gives like a really nice characteristic with the colors. We'll just bring it down a little bit. So yeah, so it just almost like trails off, yet it's not like very overpowering. And now we kind of sort of have what like we're looking for. We'll use like a edge to kind of define the shape a little bit better. We could go with any colors. We could like really play around with the colors here, and we'll just like compose it together to have like more defined. We'll make it over. Yeah, yeah, it has more definition with the animation as well. So we kind of have what we were thinking of, and now we are gonna use a level to kind of make like invert the whole thing so that we have it against like a white background. We'll bump up the contrast completely, and we'll just let me see what all we have here. Yeah, we can just play around with the in low like a little bit. Yeah, it's starting to become really fluid and lively. So we'll use a RGB key to kind of make sure that we have all the low opacity, like the blacks are really at full opacity. And let's play around with the edge color to see if something interesting comes up. It's looking more or less the same. Yeah, it's not making too much of a difference. Let's just go with the blue. I'm just trying to see if I can tweak these values to if it makes any difference. Okay, it's just losing the shape. No, it's too much. And we'll just stick back to what we had. So we kind of have the basic kind of the throbbing like like the shape. Let's introduce the media pipe. So we'll just like drag and drop the hand tracking and the media pipe talks onto the file. Yeah, we want to have these off. Or it becomes computationally too heavy. So we'll just join the hand tracking. Okay, we have it here. We will just use a null to access the chopper helpers, and we already have a lot of these mapped out on the null. And the thing we are looking for is the h1 pinch midpoint distance. So that's the thing we'll be primarily be using it. So we'll just take it out with a select. Yep, it'll be easier to now use control it. We have that, and now we're going to use a mat to kind of define the range of the scale it'll affect of the shape and the range of it's responding to our motion. Yeah. So our scale is at 0.5. We can make it go up to, okay, it'll look this big at 1. So we want it to go from 0 till about 0.5 to 1. Let's see what comes out of it. And in terms of range, that's responding to it. So it's going from somewhere 0.045-ish to about, okay, 4.67, 4.5, okay, with a pinch. So we'll just go with 0.045 is the starting range and 0.47 as the end range. Now we are going to use a null. Let's get it closer to our shape. It's easier to drag and drop, and we'll just like put this as chop reference on the scale. Okay, let's see how it's showing up. Okay, we can make this a little higher. Okay, that's quite a lot. We can use a lag here. I think it'll just make it look more organic. Otherwise it's like, oh, it's perfect. It's working really nice. Yeah, the lag did the magic. It just takes away a lot of the mechanical feeling of it. It has like a certain weight and inertia. I'll just play around with the feedback parameters. Wow, it's looking quite something. So the noise affects the feedback, and the feedback affects the form, and the interaction kind of affects the overall stability. So like this delay on the feedback edge is what gives this creature some character of hesitancy, curiosity, or sluggishness. There's like a nice inertia added to the whole system. Just playing around with the RGB delay to see what it looks like on different values. Again, we don't want something which is too strong. And let's play with the edge color again. Just not making too much of a difference. I expected something more here. Our levels seem to be okay. Nope. Oh, yeah, it doesn't look the best at the very high value. Yeah, let's reduce the black level a little bit. No, let's increase it. I'm not able to tell too much of the difference with that. Yeah. Let's try introducing a few more shapes to see into the same system. Let's go with this circle. Let's add it to this. Let's change it to 1. Let's see how it looks like. Oh, it's pretty distorted. Okay, I haven't fixed the resolution yet. Parent panel size, 32-bit float. Okay, it's quite cropped. Okay, let's maybe fix the radius. Okay, that looks pretty fun. Yep, that was it. Thank you. So this is how we made some synthetic creatures together, interactive. And I hope you had fun. Like, share, and subscribe. And from here you could extend this into multiple creatures, add sound, introduce more interactions, attraction or repulsion. Feel free to break it. That's where interesting behavior kind of really appears. So yeah, give me a follow on Instagram as well. See ya.